I do love the morning, and we are having one. We are having a morning, and and you know what? It's time for meditation. I am going to be honest, I could use some really nice meditation this morning. So we are going to do a tomato, as you may have seen. Very excited about this tomato. This is our 14th. So I guess we're doing it Monday through Friday. So we're just going to dive right in to our tomato drawing this morning, and we're going to go, let's be clear, we're going to be all nice and zen about this. And I get to remind myself to be zen because, as I mentioned, it's already been a little bit of a morning. So we're going to do a tomato, and we are calling the tomato Vinny because, well, that's what I decided. So we're going to do our four most important lines. These lines give us context for Vinny, our tomato. By the way, I've decided in my mind, Vinny is a heritage tomato. He's got panache. And actually, we're going to do something really fun today. I think it's going to be fun for you. So those of you who are using markers, this is an experiment. Some of you may have the Neuland markers. I really like this outliner that I'm using because it gives us a nice thick black line. And they're refillable. I haven't gotten to the point where I need to refill them. Do you guys like this? Can you tell that I've been working on my drawings? Ovalette, I'm so happy to see you here, Carol. Zoe, I see you on here. So we're just gonna start right out with Vinny, our heritage tomato. And we're going to, believe it or not, we're gonna draw his stem first. So we're gonna give him a little swoop down and then just let's have him wind down here. What we're going to do next is his little, what I like to think of as his ruffle. So we're going out here and just imagine that we're kind of drawing an upside down flower almost. These look like flower petals. But this is, as we all know, those of us who are familiar with the tomatoes, this is the little ruffle around them. So there's our little ruffle, and I really liked doing him because I really feel like that's what defines a tomato, right? This is how we go, oh, that's a tomato. So now we're going to take it up here because we're giving him a little bit of dimension. We're going to take it up here, and we can even go down like that and then around. And we're going to just go nice and give him a nice round, oh gosh, you guys. I think he almost looks like a strawberry here. Strawberries have their ruffles. We're going to give him a nice big that. And you know what? Because of the way the shape ended up, because this is all, remember, a meditation means it's going to be what it is. So I'm actually making some more roughs out here. It's not what I planned on doing. But just go ahead and do 3 little flower petals here to the side. And then I'm actually going to take this stem up, and we'll meet that right there. You guys, seriously, this is not what I planned this morning, but my entire morning has been not what I planned. So guess what? We're just gonna go with it. So we've got our little tomato, and he ended up being a little bit weird, and I wanted him to just end up looking like a tomato, so we're giving him a tomato companion. There you go, and this guy's gonna go up here, and there you go. Wow, Vinny, and I'm honestly, guys, because I am pinch hitting here this morning because of, morning, we're going to have to name Vinny, and Vinny's got to have a companion, so I'm going to need a name for that. But I'm going to take my orange marker here, and remember, I told you we're doing something kind of special today, so it doesn't actually really matter whether you're using markers or you're using, I know that somebody shared yesterday that they're using colored pencils. So I'm going in with orange on here. And I know tomato red, right? Beautiful. But we're just going to go in because we are going to do tomato red, I promise you. But just come with me. Just join with me. Just go on this meditation ride with me. And we're just going to have some fun filling in all the colors all around, and even that little dots in there. Just going to go around, and I'm feeling very grateful because of my big, thick marker. When I doodle these doodles with you in mind, with us doing a meditation together, I sometimes use a thinner marker. And what's interesting, because I do them small, I do a whole bunch. That's what you guys get to see at the very beginning. And when I do them bigger with this fatter liner, like you're seeing, what happens is my colors don't bleed into each other. They're just really, they're nice and clean. So I'm going to go in here. You guys, we're going to do something fun with this. So just go. Please, please, please come with me on our orange tomato extravaganza. But just because Vinny and his girlfriend, Vinny and Nikki. These are our tomatoes, Vinny and Nikki. And just because they're vintage tomatoes, so they could be orange, right? They could be orange. And if you want to leave your tomatoes orange, it's your meditation, right? And do what you want. But we're just going to fill this in all nice and slow. I'm allowing the ink, I'm enjoying putting the color in. And I'm enjoying having it be a little bit mottled because the way I put the color down shows through when I'm done with putting it down. And here we go. We're going to go. So there's our orange. And so if you're doing a colored pencil, that's awesome. Or you're doing a Crayola markers are also wonderful. They do the same thing. I'm going to take my red Neuland marker, and now I'm gonna do two things. Well, I'm gonna do a lot of things, but right now I'm just gonna do this circle, and I'm gonna do this circle. And I know you're saying, well, that's really weird, and I agree with you. So now let's rethink our life choices. Actually, I planned it. We're gonna go back in and go over the top, and we're gonna take our red. So this is kind of a cherry red, and I'm not doing a cherry tomato. All right, I could be. But what I really loved about this is I experimented as I put the red in over the orange. When I just did the red, it just didn't speak to me of tomatoes. So when I did orange first and then came back in and put red over on top of it, and you can do this with colored pencils. And when I did that, I found a very tomato-y color underneath. And I like how it looks a little bit different everywhere we go. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with our little weird circles. Because it's the details that make things really interesting in my mind. And you can do this, by the way, if you're putting in your color with, by the way, if you're using crayons, just your regular Crayola crayons, this would be a great time to just do this to experiment. Because you're never going to, even if you have an orange tomato and it's just orange, you don't need to regret that orange tomato. So, but if you try and just play with your colors, whatever ink, whatever pigment, whatever crayon, pencil, whatever it is, truthfully, you can do that with pencil too. Obviously, you're not going to get color out of it, but that's because normal pencils, not colored pencils. So I'm really, truly, this is very healing for me this morning. We live on a farm, and this morning we had a farm emergency with one of our horses. And so my apple cart got upset this morning, and we're working it out. We're solving the problem, but it was a little bit upsetting. And now, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to go swoosh in just a little bit right there, and swoosh in just a little bit like right there. And I'm going to mess with it because obviously these are the highlights. And so this is where the light is shining on our tomatoes. So I'm going to come in and kind of I was experimenting and doing a half moon this morning. And I kind of like that half moon vibe. So now it looks like we can tell. And I'm just going to play with my shape here because a reflection, the reflection of the light that we're doing here, it does not have to be a specific shape. Just like in nature, could have been a strawberry over here or a tomato, because we all know that nature does what it does. So now I'm going in and I'm doing my green. I have a darker green here, but I tend to like this kind of olivey green. I think it comes out a nice natural green. And the truth is I can put yellow underneath it. It's a very fluid green, if you will. It can be lots of things. It can be colors in a forest or a tomato plant, whereas some of the darker greens sometimes it seems like they can only be like something dark. This has flexibility. So how are you feeling? Did you like putting in the colors? By the way, if you're liking putting in the colors and I'm finishing and you're like, but wait a second, we're not done. And also, Michelle, this looks a little funky. It does. Let's just do a wisp off of it, because maybe one down here. This has gotten way more interpretive today than I intended, and that's okay, because I'll tell you what, if you are a regular meditator or new to it, if you're new to it, I'll tell you that what you're experiencing is, oh, my brown. Guys, really, it's okay. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if we mix it with this or we like the brown better, but we're gonna do our nice gray drop shadow. So this is very, something kind of similar to the highlight. It's absolutely the opposite of this highlight. It's our low light. So this would probably be in the shade here, and we'll go up here and we can do a little, because this one's in the shadow of this one. We're kind of making it up, but that's okay. Technically speaking, if our light's coming this way, our shadows are going to be here on this side, and that's okay. We're going with it. Every meditation, this is what I was going to say about meditation. Every meditation is different every single time, and this has been a very interesting one for me. So I'm going to go ahead and write down our names, and I'm doing a different script today because, again, we can. Vinny. You want to know why I named him Vinny? Because I was thinking, well, now that's a tomato. And then I thought, that sounds Italian. So does Vinny. And so does Nikki. Vinny and Nikki are heirloom tomatoes. On a spring morning. And then, of course, my mark. I've been since the very beginning of my time, Michelle, and I was a Pearson, and I am a Young. I'm actually still a Pearson. I am Michelle Pearson Young, and it is 2020, and we are all looking for clear vision. 2020. I hope your tomato meditation with Vinny and Nikki and Michelle Pearson Young felt like a whole boatload of play. Thank you for joining me. Oh, I see Ash on here, Adam on here, Zoe on here, Carol on here. You guys, thank you for joining me. And there you go, Vinny and Nikki, heirloom tomatoes. I hope you make today a lot of play.